Jess. I was hoping you could tell me a little bit about yourself and your role within the Resident Society.
Yeah, so I moved out of Kingston and back to Ottawa when the pandemic hit. So I'm here now for the summer and I'll be here for the fall. I'm going into my 5th year of my computing and math degree and hopefully my last year. I'm also doing certificates in business and in media studies. So
Wow.
this summer, yeah, busy. I just don't know what I want to do, honestly. I'm working as an analytics officer for national defense right now. And I'm also,
that's neat.
Yeah. I'm also an entrepreneur at the Dinindishwande Queen's Innovation Center. So I'm working in the COVID-19 education space there. And I'm also a teaching assistant for Queen's, which really led me to explore my passion for accessibility by helping to develop accessible courses. So I came to Queen's because I really valued extracurricular clubs in high school, and I kind of relied on that to relieve the stress of academics. And Queen's is super focused on the student experience, which is why I chose to come here. So since first year, I've been involved with student government, orientation week, and recently ResSoc and QUnited. It made me find my passion for accessible opportunities for students and embracing diversity and developing equitable hiring practices. So my position in the Resident Society is Human Resources Officer. So bulk of it is mostly recruiting and training and professional development for our employees and volunteers. So that's everyone from house presidents to residence facilitators and first-year interns. I also deal with any conflict resolution that needs to occur within the society. And right now I'm working on ResSoc's policies, so hiring policies being the main one, to make sure that diversity and inclusion are at the forefront. So we're discussing things like providing more choices in application materials and having more diverse hiring panels.
That's great. Thank you so much for that. So you're the right person to talk to. So next, I guess I was hoping you could talk a little bit about how the closure of schools in the fall, so the new online delivery as a result of the pandemic, will impact incoming students, and namely students part of the BIPOC community.
Yeah, it's awful, honestly. I really feel bad for first-year students. I guess first year is such a critical time for incoming students to really connect with their peers and get to know the school and find their circle of people that they're going to be sticking with probably for a good chunk of their time at Queen's. So I guess with school being online in the fall, I was trying to think about it, and I guess incoming students are missing out on all the key experiences, living in residence and attending orientation week, going to class with friends and finding your new study spot. So I guess with Queen's being a predominantly white school, many BIPOC students, I guess they spend a good chunk of their time really finding students from similar backgrounds and lived experiences to go through first year with. I think with everything being so new, having that circle of people that are going through similar experiences makes it a lot easier. So finding that community is important. And when you're in first year, at least for me, I found there were so many clubs and groups focused on cultural diversity, and it would be way easier for BIPOC first year students to find those groups if classes weren't online. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's going to be quite the transition come the fall. But I guess if you wouldn't mind now touching upon what kinds of things the Resident Society is doing to make incoming students feel included, even though fall is online and they won't have that residence and orientation experience.
Yeah, so I guess in the past, Resident Society's been focused on the students living in residence, so that whether that be the first year students or upper year students in the upper year res. This year, since we know there's a limited capacity on students living in residence in the fall, we're trying to focus on all first year students, not just those that'll be on campus. So our programming within residence, I find, is really beneficial for a lot of first year students. We don't want the limited capacity of residence to really prevent students from accessing that. So our events and campaigns that'll be going on through the year, we want to make sure that they're both online and in residence so that all students are getting access to the ResSoc programming. So that'll be things like wellness events and awareness and engagement weeks like Pride Week and Mental Health Week. We'll be doing collaborations with other clubs, and then even just campaigns on how to navigate first year and exams and being a first-year student during COVID-19. We're also making our first-year opportunities, so we have some volunteer opportunities and our first-year intern positions. We're going to make them available to students, regardless if they're on campus. They can do them from home as well, and we're hoping that they'll still get valuable experience being in those positions even if they aren't on campus. And a big thing that we saw with school being online is that we're going to have to advocate for student accessibility and accommodations. So we're going to try and advocate for more supports for first year students, whether that's like SAS workshops geared towards first year students, additional counselors for students and residents, and online counseling for students that are not in residence, and then more BIPOC and LGBTQ+ supports.
That's great. That's really good to know, actually. I guess that's great. Just wrapping things up, are there any other resources that you know of on campus that equity seeking groups in the Queens community can access for support? And then if there's anything else that you want to share with us today.
Yeah, so ResSoc.ca/resources, which I honestly just found out recently. We have a really good breakdown of resources for various supports and communities. So everything from anti-racism, culture, gender, sexuality, wellness, it's all on there, and it's pretty clear with good descriptions. One thing I want to highlight is counseling is probably a big thing I think that people will be accessing over the upcoming year, and it's available both in person and online. And if finances are a barrier, Student Wellness Services does free same-day counseling. If students are in residence, I'd recommend them requesting to be with a residence outreach counselor, because those appointments are much more available. In general, I guess for students going into first year, I'd recommend really trying, even though things are online, just trying to find a club or group that you can resonate with, and just to find like-minded students or who are going through similar experiences. So myams.org/clubs has a clubs map and directory of all the clubs on campus. Some big ones focused on cultural identity that are good to highlight is the Queens Black Academic Society and the African and Caribbean Students Association. They do incredible work. Another organization is the Four Directions Indigenous Student Center. They're a really good support and a good home away from home for Indigenous students while they're at Queens. And I guess outside of clubs focused on identity, for me, I found my home, it was through meeting computing students through orientation week and student government. So some great clubs that I know of that I really recommend is the Queens Women in Computing group, which is not necessarily, if you're just interested in computing, it's an awesome group. Queens Collage Collective, EQUIP, which is the Education on Queer Issues Project, Step Above Stigma, and the Levana Gender Advocacy Center. They all do really incredible work and are really welcoming groups. And then I guess anything else I want to share, I just want to tell students that I really empathize, you're not probably going to get the first experience that you deserve. You don't deserve to have to deal with this, but it's happening. And even for seniors that are going into their final year, this is probably not what you were expecting to. So we're all feeling the impacts of this together. And I'm totally here if anybody wants to chat, whether that be incoming students or BIPOC students, even if they want to just have a chat or ask questions, I'm always around.
Thank you so much, Jess, and thank you for all of your time today. I'm excited to put your article together.
Yeah, thanks so much.